Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are talking about my most repurchased Chanel beauty products. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. As many of you know, I now have an online beauty consulting service, which is where you get the chance to talk to me one-on-one in a video chat, and you can talk to me about any beauty related questions. If you want to talk about the collection you already own, if you want some advice pairing different colors of blush, eyeshadow, lipstick together, or if you want advice navigating the world of cosmetics and you want unbiased advice, because I work for myself, I don't work for any brand. So if you need product recommendations, I will give you my unbiased advice. So to make the appointment, click the link in the description box down below. Okay, so the inspiration for today's video is I have an extensive Chanel beauty collection, but there are certain items that I have repurchased over the years and that I just can't really go without. So that is today's video. We are talking solely about the items that I insist on repurchasing. So the first category here, and I did not limit myself to a certain number, I just went through my collection and I was like, what have I repurchased the most? The first thing I could think of are the eyeliners. These are the waterproof formula. They have a couple formulas. They have like the regular pencils, they have the liquid liners, but I am a waterproof eyeliner girl. I am in fact wearing a couple of these today. So the first one is Brun Agapé, which is number 943. I think this is severely underrated. It's a really beautiful light brown with a little bit of shimmer maybe or lightness. It's not a chunky glitter. It's just a light brown with a bit of a satiny finish. It's not matte. And I used this today under my bottom lashes here to add a little bit of color, but without being too dark. If you like soft browns that aren't too matte, aren't too dark, number 943 is a spectacular color to get. In that same vein, we have Matte Taupe, which is 932. This one is that same soft brown family, but this one is more matte, as the name would suggest. So if you don't want any sort of shimmer or lightness, if you really just want a matte kind of espresso shade, Matte Taupe is for you. It's really nice to have these slightly dark neutral liners because I have lots of colorful eyeliners, lots of blues and greens, and as much as I love them, I don't really go through them as fast as I do these more neutral, subtle colors. If black eyeliner seems too stark and too intense for you, I would go with Matte Taupe. And then the last one here is number 88. This is Noir Intense. It's an intense matte black, and I used this in the waterline on top today. The reason I love this formula is, for me, these are the most waterproof and budge proof in my experience. When I put this on the top waterline, it does not transfer, because sometimes when you put eyeliner just on the top waterline here, it transfers onto the waterline on the bottom, and I like to just put it on top to make my eyes look bigger, and certain formulas just defeat that purpose, but this really just stays in place all day. It doesn't run, it doesn't budge, it's really waterproof and heat resistant. And these three liners here, I have gone through countless. I don't know how many times I've repurchased them. I've repurchased the black liner the most, but the other two, I would say at least 2 or 3 times. It's just, these are colors that I need in my collection as staples. Moving on to another staple, this is the Volume de Chanel. This is the classic black mascara. So the Volume or Volume is the mascara that makes my lashes look like fake lashes. It gives me volume, drama, length, and curl. Every couple of years they come out with a new version of the Volume. Like they'll make it darker, they'll make it 3D, extra lengthening, whatever. Personally, the new versions have never replaced the old classic for me, and I could not tell you how many of these I've repurchased, maybe 20 or 30. Like, this is just always in my rotation. It's my fallback, my old faithful mascara. I know a lot of people like it, and you know, it's one of those products that it's expensive because it is a mascara. It's not an item that's going to last you years. It's a few months at best, but it really is worth the hype. Okay, moving on to an item that I used to repurchase all the time, and then I discovered something else and it kind of got usurped, but I recently decided to give it a try again, and this is the concealer. So this is the Chanel Correcteur concealer, and I use the shade number 20 Beige. And just as a reference, for the Volume mascara, I use the black. That's like the classic color. I've tried the other colorful mascaras and I like them, but I'm just not going to use a blue mascara every day. So number 20 Beige is my under eye concealer color. I like to go with a little bit lighter under my eyes just to brighten. I repurchased this at least 3 or 4 times, which is a lot for a concealer because it takes a lot to actually go through one. And what happened is I discovered the Clé de Peau concealer, and that one is just phenomenal. This Chanel one is really good, but something about the Clé de Peau concealer is just slightly magical. This here does offer a nice amount of coverage. It also doesn't crease, it doesn't smudge, it stays in place. But I think the Clé de Peau concealer offers just like a little bit more coverage, which is why it got replaced. But trying it again, I still really like it. It's also nice to have something a little bit more natural. It covers very nicely. It does cover, you know, under eye circles, lack of sleep, things like that. It just looks a bit more natural, I think. And I think for me, especially now that I'm in my mid-30s, the most important thing is not creasing anywhere. And I'm not noticing any creasing. I've been retesting this now for a few weeks, and I remembered why I loved it so much. Okay, moving on to an item that may be a little bit surprising, but an item that I've repurchased a lot is the Chanel Chance Hair Mist. So of all the Chanel fragrances that I own, this may be surprising, but the Chanel Chance series, like just the classic Chance, smells so clean and fresh and feminine, but it's clean without being soapy or too floral. It's just a really lovely, amazing scent, and the hair mist is so extra. In the before time, when we could hug our friends, anytime I would spray this in my hair when we would go for brunch, people would always compliment me and tell me how nice I smelled, because the hair mist is very light. It's not something that's going to cast a wide net of fragrance, so you do have to be a bit closer to someone, and it just smells lovely, fresh, and clean. It's very inoffensive, and it's just such a great product. I love how extra it is. It's so small, it fits perfectly in your hand, and when you want to add a little bit of fragrance, a little boost, but you don't want to cast this huge net of fragrance and be overwhelming, it's nice to have something really subtle on hand, and I love it. I love hair mist and hair fragrances in general, and this one is one that I keep repurchasing because it's so clean and classic and fresh. I have other ones. I have number 5, I have Coco Noir as well, but those definitely have like a very substantial presence. Like Coco Noir, it's very intense, it's very gourmand, almost more wintry and nighttime, and number 5 has all those aldehydes, it's so floral. And so Chance is just my go-to no fuss hair mist. Okay, moving on to a foundation. This is the Water Fresh tint in the shade Medium. When this came out, this just blew my mind. It's more of a skin tint than it is a foundation. So when you see the product here, you see these little suspended bubbles of pigment in what looks like water. And when you apply it, it all just sort of disintegrates together. And at first it kind of looks insane, but some sort of magic happens when you apply it. It adds this glow and boost of hydration, and it gives you the softest blur to your complexion. It's very, very light. It's not going to be a traditional foundation. You can use this as a primer before you go into something a bit more heavy duty or a bit more mattifying if you want to just add a bit of hydration and glow, or you can use this on its own. It's very lightweight, very fresh, very much your skin but better. And I have repurchased this. I think this is my second one at least that I've gone through, and I do have quite a bit of different foundations, so I may not go through the same products as fast as someone who does not have a beauty channel, but it is one of those items that I repurchased right away, and I don't really see a universe where I don't keep repurchasing this. And just as a sneak peek, I saw online that they are going to launch a water fresh tint blush. Yes, I saw a series of bottles like this, but they look like blushes. I think there were like 5, 6 colors, and it's blush. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, how you would apply it, but I'm intrigued, and as soon as I can get my hands on it, I will definitely try it out. I don't think it's going to come out until fall, maybe, so you have a few months to prepare yourselves. Okay, so next is an item that's discontinued. It is long gone. I think I could do a video on like long lost, discontinued Chanel products here. It's also a foundation. This is the Perfection Lumière, and this is the shade 30 Beige. This used to be a staple of Chanel Beauty. This was a foundation that they had for a long time, and then at some point they just decided to discontinue this product here. This was my favorite. I think this is my 3rd or 4th bottle. Like this was my foundation. This was the only one that I would wear. I think the Ultra Le Teint is probably the closest in texture and finish, but there was something about the Perfection Lumière that had like this slight glow to it, and it was just such a beautiful foundation. I repurchased it a lot, and yeah, not anymore because it's discontinued. I don't even know if there are any sectors of the world that still make this foundation. Leave a comment if you remember this one. I was going through a phase at the time that I loved more coverage, like I wanted like more full coverage, and this was Chanel's version of like a full coverage foundation. All right, moving on to some lip products here. If you are a fan of my channel, you might know what some of these might be. So the first one is the Rouge Coco Flash Formula. This is a very glossy, hydrating lip formula, and this is the shade number 82, Live or Live. I have completely finished this. There's absolutely nothing left here. This is really my lips, but better. It's nude with a little hint of pink, but it's not too cool tone. It's really just the most beautiful, soft, elegant, neutral lip color. And I recently purchased it again because I had this horrifying fear. What if Chanel decides to discontinue the shade or the formula? So I bought it right away, so it still counts. It's still part of my most repurchased items here. And then the next one here is the Rouge Coco lipstick, and this is 440 Arthur. This is more of a classic satin finish bullet lipstick here. And Arthur is a beautiful warm orangey red. There is still some lip product here in the tube, but I went ahead and got a backup because same fear, what if they get rid of the color and the formula? Because remember several years ago, the Rouge Coco formula, like this is the new version, because remember several years ago, they got rid of the existing Rouge Coco colors and came out with new ones, which is when I discovered Arthur, which I'm really happy about, but I didn't want to be part of that group of people that loses their favorite shade just because Chanel decides to reformulate everything. All right, last item is actually an eyeshadow, and this is the Tissé Vendôme palette. So this calls back to my days when I still worked at the counter, and this is a sample here. So fun fact, sometimes at the counter they will send several different samples of the same item that you don't actually need. So I was able to get this eyeshadow here, and when I got this, it was brand new, completely fresh, unused. And as you can see, I've actually hit pan on 2 shades in the palette, which is really remarkable. I don't think I've hit pan on many other shadows, especially since I have such an extensive collection. So this is an item that I will be repurchasing in the very near future. I have plans to go pick this up at the counter next week, so it still counts as a repurchased item. I'm just really impressed with myself that I was able to hit pan on not one, but 2 colors in the quad here. That's a testament to how much I love it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and buy a real palette of this Tissé Vendôme because I do love it so much, and I think it's about time that I just go ahead and buy the real thing instead of using the little sample. And don't worry, as soon as I get it, I will be sure to do a tutorial and demonstration because it is such a beautiful, soft, neutral palette. There is a warm peachy shade, but it's what I'm wearing on my eyes today, and I just think it's so lovely. All right, guys, I think this is it for my video. These are my most repurchased items. I definitely have some categories that I've purchased a lot of, but for today's video, it's really just the most repurchased ones. And I would love to hear from you. Sound off down below. Let me know which items have you repurchased the most. I want to hear from you, and I will definitely turn this into a tag and tag a bunch of creators because I want to see what other people have repurchased the most as well, because it's just a fun way to maybe make some new discoveries of some wonderful products. If you're new to my channel, I talk about nothing but luxury beauty, and I also like to reuse my products, so it's very rare that I will show a palette or a foundation only once on my channel. I like to use and reuse and create lots of tutorials, so I highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel, and you can also hit the notification bell on the side to be notified whenever I post a new video. So I think on that note, this is all I have for you guys for today. So thank you all so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.